Welcome to the All for the Gators podcast.
All right, welcome back, gentlemen. It is the All for the Gators podcast. I'm your host, John Spano, and I have two co-hosts, Mr. Andy Pankratz and Sid Kafka. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Great. Happy to be back.
So last week we added WJXL as an affiliate. That's Jacksonville Sports Radio, home of the Gators. And this week, are you ready for this? We're now on iHeartRadio. Yeah, just go to iHeartRadio and type in All for the Gators with number 4. And amongst their millions of podcasts, you will find ours.
Wow. Can't stop us.
You're full of surprises, man.
Worldwide.
Onward and upward, my friends.
It's always good to be onward and upward.
Can't escape the reach of the All for Gators podcast.
Let me ask you this. Do you know why it's a number 4 in the name of our show?
For C4?
Nope.
For the 4th championship that's coming in the very near future?
Nope. It's all for the Gators because we're 3 Gator grads, right? That bleed orange and blue. And then our guest is the 4th one. So that's why
I like it.
there's 4.
I like it.
Well done.
So we got a big show today, fellas. I'm not even gonna try to hide it. It's a huge one today.
So who's the 4th Gator this week?
Well, we got one of the GOATs today, gentlemen. We got one of the GOATs. Take UF's football record book, flip it open. You're going to find this absolute legend's name near the top of every damn category. As a matter of fact, no Florida Gator wide receiver in history.
Oh, we got a receiver.
Yeah, there you go. That's one hint.
Yep.
No receiver in history has hauled in more touchdown passes in a single season than this guy ever.
Wow.
18 in 1 year.
It's narrowing it down a little for us, yeah.
Yes, it is.
So let's get to it. Today's Gator Great Fellows was one of the pioneers of the fun and gun. But first, he lit up the football field down in Muck City for Glade Central High, where he earned All-State and All-American honors. And he didn't miss a beat at the next level, becoming one of the most prolific big play receivers to ball out in the swamp. This man won the SEC championship every year he played at UF. He was a consensus All-American, first-team All-SEC, brought the first UF football national championship to Gainesville in '96, was ranked as the 17th greatest player of Florida's first 100 years of football by the Gainesville Sun in 2006, and is a prestigious member of the UF Athletics Hall of Fame. Gator Nation, it is my honor to give to you the OG number 15 in orange and blue, Mr. Reidel Clarence Anthony.
All right.
Thank you so much for being here. Wow.
Oh, wow. Nah, hey, that's an intro. If I ever die or something, I need you at my funeral. But, next time, leave the Clarence out. That's my dad's first name. And now you're going to have people joking on me. Only a few people know that, but thanks for letting everyone else know.
That's his thing,
He
man.
likes to go government name.
He loves to do the middle name.
Yeah.
He does.
Nah, that was awesome.
Before we get started, anyone you're rooting for in the NFL playoffs right now?
49ers.
Oh, okay.
I grew up a 49er fan.
How's that happen? Because you're born in Pahokee, Florida.
Yeah, I grew up in Belgrade and grew up in South Bay, Florida, where my dad was a mayor for like 23 years. So he had season tickets to the Dolphin games, and I used to always go down with him on once or twice during the season. But every time we go to a game, it'd be like a Buffalo Bill or New York Jet game, and they always lost. I swear, like the Dolphins will be 10-3. And they'll lose to the Patriots or they'll lose to Buffalo. So I just got tired of that. And then I went to seeing, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Rathman, Craig.
Rice must have been your idol, right?
No, my idol was my uncle.
Oh, okay.
So my uncle, he attended the University of Virginia. He was a wide receiver, but he was a different type of receiver. He was 6'3", 217, ran low 4.4. He went 32nd overall in the draft when he came out, I want to say, to the Detroit Lions. So he the one trained me since I was in the 10th grade to become, the player that I became. Well, I go look cross country for an NFL receiver when I have one walking in my door every morning during the summer willing to work with me.
That's pretty good. You did mention you grew up the son of a mayor. Imagine you had to kind of stay out of trouble, be careful. How was that?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough, and you're right. I had to stay out of trouble. Yet, if I got a speeding ticket or something, which I didn't get many, maybe 3, 4, yeah, somewhere up in there. He found out, just because of his connections, and anything went on in school, whatever I did, he found out. So yeah, I had to learn how to push, then just stop. So I didn't get in that trouble.
All right. Well, you made a name for yourself at Glade Central High down there in Muck City. All state, all American. And for those that aren't aware of the legends of Muck City, it's a small area where so many NFL stars came from. Lewis Oliver, Travis Benjamin, Santonio Holmes, Johnny Rutledge, Denoris Jenkins, Ray McDonald, Freddy T. I mean, I could keep going. The list is huge. And of course, the annual Muck Bowl that draws over 12,000 fans from all over the country. Can you let our listeners that aren't familiar with that legacy know what it's all about?
It's hard to explain. It's something you have to come experience. From the age of whenever I can remember, it was all about Friday night football. And, you go to the game, but until you pretty much got into middle school, you never watched the game. You'll be behind the stands playing, throwing back running, we call it, or what they call it other places, tackle the man with the ball, But we didn't use a football. We used like a cup, like a Gatorade cup. And it'll be like 25 kids back there. And once you get tackled, you just throw the cup up. Whoever get the cup, get tackled. So no one never scored. But I promise you, it was a great workout. And, it just taught you how to compete. And that's the one thing down there that we definitely believe in is competition. We don't shy from it because we firm believers we can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. We were a smaller school, but, we played big schools all the time. We didn't want to play schools our size. And in high school, I think I lost, 4 games, maybe 5, just like college. And most of them was in the playoffs. So, being down there, it just teaches you that, hey, as long as you got to compete and have confidence, you can do whatever you want. And between Glade Central and Pahokee, that one game a year, like you stated, you'll have eventually guys in the NFL, about 6 guys on that Friday night field. And I don't know, 20 places in the country, maybe out in California at those private schools or whatever, but they're bringing kids in. We were grown up there and we live and die by the Muck. It's a different attitude, different atmosphere. And, I wouldn't change it. I love where I'm from. And I tell people all the time, I can talk about where I'm from, but I don't let no one else do.
So obviously with that level of competition, that must have done a good job of preparing you for the environment when you came to the swamp. What was that transition like for you?
It was simple. Because like I say, growing up in that environment, expectations are win state or you're average. And I use average to, subtract other words being used. Just every Friday night we expected to win. Every Saturday I went to Florida, I expected to win. So just that mentality and knowing, in practice, like you said, you mentioned, 2 other guys off my high school team. And besides those 2, we had another 18 Division One, maybe 20 Division One players. So our practice was mostly the game. So, and when you went to UF, you practice against the best. And that's why we were able to dominate and do what we did on the field on a Saturday because, Tuesday through Thursday, it's competition against the best of the best. Me and Fred, Johnny, we never shied for competition. We ran towards. So getting there and seeing what other people were doing, we really was not concerned about them. We were more concerned about how we're going to affect this team.
Well, you were definitely ready for the next level. How was that recruiting experience for you? Did Spurrier have to work hard for it, or were you kind of already planning on UF, or did you have other places in mind? How did that go?
No, honestly, Florida was my second choice. I was going to go to Georgia. Just a change. And that's what people don't understand when you get certain kids that are being recruited and you wonder why they go to this state when you have the best of the best here in Florida. Hey, you just looking to change, grow, see something different. and experience stuff.
Yeah.
I was on Georgia hard, but then the funniest thing was Coach Spurrier won me over in the most craziest way. So he came on the home visit, and I had just came back from Georgia, great trip, whatever. And my mom had promised me I could use a car or something that day, and she didn't let me use it. So Coach Spurrier showed up to the house right as we get through talking, and he comes in, and I admit I had an attitude. And as we going through the home visit, he stopped like 15 minutes in, like, Reidel, you okay? Cause saying I'm happy. If you don't want me here, hey, I'll leave. I was like, hey, that's the realest thing I don't heard in a long time. And he still tells that story every now and then to this day. And I can't believe he remembers that. But when he did that, I'm like, shoot, I gotta play for him, cause he like me. He just, like he don't care. Like he gonna get it done, and you have your attitude, do whatever. Don't waste his time. So I respected that, and I knew right then, you know, he's somebody I would love to be around.
Sure. So you come up to UF in 94, and the wide receiver room is arguably the most talented wide receiver unit of all time. You got yourself with fellow freshman Ike, you got Quez, you got Travis McGriff joining juniors, Doring's there, Jack Jackson's there. What was it like competing for playing time with that crew?
Don't forget, God rest his soul, the great Aubrey Hill, Mr. Consistent.
That's right.
Yeah, Aubrey Hill, Mr. Consistent. Boy, he was just consistent. And I gravitated to him. Aubrey, one of my favorite people, because he taught me a lot. But to come into that room, I'll be honest, I came in there with, full of confidence and like, hey, show me you better than me. And it kind of got me in trouble early, but, it's me being me. I talked a lot of stuff, but after two scrimmages, and I had in those two scrimmages like 6-7 touchdowns. I kind of saw that he talk a lot, but he really can go. And I just wanted to prove myself, and it was just fun learning from Coach Dixon, learning from Coach Spurrier. Like I gravitated to that stuff. It was fun, and like I said, what people didn't know about me before I got to Florida and still don't understand why I was so productive and was able to play fast because of my uncle, John Ford. He was in the NFL. I saw him work. He took me out there in them cane fields. We ran about 600 yards pulling a tractor tire. He'll pull a light pole, I'll pull a light pole. Nobody ain't see the grind and whatever I went through. So no matter where I went, I knew I was prepared.
So you definitely make your mark that first year. You talked about working hard, and you caught 30 balls, 615 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the fun and gun offense. Definitely flashing some big time, playmaking ability. Was it all the hard work, or did the offense just click for you? Was it a perfect fit for you?
All the above.
All the above?
The offense and all that could be perfect for you, but if you don't put in the hard work, and you got to think, like you mentioned with that room, if you're not on it every day, someone else have a better day, hey, things change. So you had to prepare as if you were a starter, because Coach Spur will always have special plays for you, especially when you're a freshman, because the great thing about Coach Spur, he knows what you're great at when you're young to build confidence. Then he gradually gets you involved in other things. And a lot of football people will not understand that, because they think of what they see on a video game, running around, able to run, cut, do that. Yeah, I mean, that's put in there. But when you have a young player, you have to find out what they're great at, get them success, then gradually give them more. And that's how you get you a complete player. You just can't throw them in there and say run 6 different routes as a freshman in front of 90,000 people. And hey, if they do this coverage, you got to adjust this and that. That's a whole lot. But my thing as a freshman early was take the top off the defense. So that's what I ran. A lot of posts, a lot of go routes, a lot of corner routes. And as you can see, by my junior year, I run in curls, I run in digs. So that's the beauty of what Coach Spurrier does to develop his players. He only give them enough that what they can handle, and then he gradually give them more responsibility.
So we obviously remember that year notable with the coach going back and forth from the two quarterbacks
Auburn.
with Terry Dean and Danny Werfel. And, for a young player trying to get the continuity there, like, was that a challenge for you? Was there a difference on who threw you the ball, or you were just ready whoever had it coming your way?
I was ready, because you got to think the quarterback situation didn't start until after the Auburn game. Before that, remember, Terry Dean was in the Heisman Trophy. He was the leading candidate.
Right.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's right.
so it wasn't no competition. I mean, you got a guy who lead the Heisman Trophy candidate, but when he threw those 3 picks in the first half against Auburn, all right, you put Danny in there, but the bus don't stop because Coach Furrier did a great job at putting your skill set at certain positions and tell the quarterback, hey, read your coverage, hitch, and let it go. They'll get there. So the quarterback just had one job: get a good snap, good play fake, hitch, and throw it. It was our job to be there. And we worked on it so much. I mean, you run that corner route, you run a hitch, you run a slant, you run it so much that it's like second nature. And whoever throwing the ball, they throw it so much, as long as they get a good read on the coverage, it's going to work.
So the Gators get to the SEC championship game, looking for a second SEC title in a row and 2 out of the last 3 years, actually, facing an undefeated Bama. Early on, you have a nice game-tying 25-yard touchdown catch from Danny, and Doring ends up grabbing a touchdown with about 5 minutes to go. That ends up being the game winner. So what sticks out in your mind about that game, which was your first taste of championship success at the college level?
Oh, man, just the atmosphere. If you get a chance to talk to a lot of athletes, the difference between regular season and postseason, the intensity is just different. And another thing, you probably the only game on, so people even more hype. So just going into, back then, what was the Georgia Dome, and Alabama recruited me, so I was familiar with the coaching stuff. But the thing about it, when you play at Glade Central, and no matter if you can have 2 touchdowns and only win by 14 points, they're going to tell you, why you ain't score 4? Or what happened on this play? They find everything negative.
Keeps you humble.
Yeah, exactly. Keeps you humble. So, going to the environment, it was so much fun. And like you said, I actually had a pretty good game and caught the touchdown of, I think, TP Johnson. Yeah. And just that feeling when I scored that touchdown was, when I took my helmet off, because hell, nobody know who number 15 is unless they see my face. So that's why I, took the helmet off and pulled out the shotgun so people could see my face and know who I am. So yeah, after that, then to see Fred, rip it, and then sit on the bench with, my best friend, and just thinking, I told him, like, dog, just think, about a year and a month ago, we was in Belgrade playing the Muck Bowl. Look at us now. We on ABC, prime time, you going off, I'm going off. But Fred, yeah, if you know him, he just, yeah. I'm like, what? I can't use the words on here, but I cursed him out. Like, dude, get more excited about this, what's going on. But for both of us to shine on that stage, man, it was awesome.
So the next year, 95, Gators have a huge regular season. Undefeated. I mean, the scoring was unbelievable. I think it was 612 to 228, outscoring opponents. I know you did get hurt that season, though, in week 8 and missed some time. Were you able to enjoy the team success even though you were injured? Or how does, when the team's doing well, but you're unfortunately unable to contribute to some of those games?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. Because I'm not Reidel Anthony without Fred, Jaquez, Ike, Feast, Kareem, Jamie Richardson, Travis Griff, Noah Brandeis. We all work the same, just as hard, just as many days. So if they having success, I'm having success. Because whether you playing with them at the time or, you was injured like I did, I tore meniscus in my knee and missed 2 weeks. And we had a bye week, so 3. But to see them go out there and have success, you can't help but be happy for guys that putting in the work and have a great attitude. And when you are successful, they can congratulate you. Any athlete out there that does not feel that way, they need to take team sports off their list and just go into tennis, golf, but the frisbee, tossing.
Frisbee golf. Yeah.
Frisbee golf. I mean, go do that because you're an individual. You're not a team player. So I definitely enjoyed it because I had to stay home and watch the South Carolina game on TV with my knee wrapped up in the bed. So, hey, now you have to cheer for your teammates because they make you who you are.
I know one thing you definitely enjoyed before you hurt your knee was the Auburn game, revenging the loss from the year before. You lost by 3, and then you took one to the house on a kick return to help bring the Gators back in it. Is that a special play you look back on from college?
That is definitely one of my top 3 moments, at Florida, because the game started off with me rocky. I'll be honest, that could have been one of my worst games ever. Even though I ran back that kick, cause the opening kickoff, I got a little ding. Takeo Spikes hit me pretty hard. I ain't gonna lie.
Big guy.
And the next 2 passes I dropped. And what were they up?
I think they were up 10-0 when you returned it.
Yeah, 10-0. And like I had them drop 2 passes, and I was like, oh Lord. Plus, it had rained a little bit, so it was a little wet, but make no excuses. So as I'm going out for the return, the kick after we down 10-0, they had like a student section behind us. And they just heckling. So I pointed at one of the dudes and I signaled, and he read my lips. I'm gonna take this for a touchdown. He just like, whatever, boo. I'm like, watch this. I'm gonna take this for a touchdown. So, I spoke it and it happened.
Spoke it into reality.
Speaking it into existence, speaking it into reality, and
Like it.
that got me back going. But as you could tell, my confidence never faltered. Like, I knew I was gonna make a play. I just had to, find the right time and calm myself down to make it. And hey, I made the play and turned the game around, and I think we put up 50 on them. Up 45, somewhere up in there.
Obviously, you are one of the greatest Gator receivers of all time, but actually, you really were a fantastic returner in your career, as you just alluded to. At your time at UF, you had over 800 yards returning, an average 25-yard a kick return between 94 and 95, and over 11 yards a punt. Obviously, you could tell from the story you take pride in that. Like, what is different about the game for you when you're making a play like in the open field as a wide receiver as opposed to taking a kick back?
Well,
obviously, you get to showcase your speed and talent, but what's it like from your perspective?
Well, for me, it was personal. Because you got to remember now, like, let's go back to the beginning of the interview. I had Fred Taylor in the backfield in high school. My backup was James Jackson, the UM running back.
We're from Broward County, so we know the Canes as well, too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Think about how many balls being thrown around with those 2 in the backfield. Most time I got my touches or touchdowns in high school was on kickoff and punt returns.
the only way you'd get the ball.
Yes, if you look at my high school stats, all state, I maybe had 25 catches or so for like 600 yards or something and 5, 6 touchdowns. But if you look at my overall stats, I returned a punt, a kickoff a game. So I know I had at least about 15, 16 between punt and kickoff return.
It's amazing.
That's crazy.
So I took pride in when the ball kick, I'm catching, I'm running. I don't care. Because this may be the only time I touch the ball all game. Because, with playing with Fred, we played one game. Fred had 5 carries, 280 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
What?
He had more touchdowns than times being tackled in the game.
Yes, literally.
That's amazing.
Now you really up like 42-0 because we got a couple defense touchdowns. Guess what? We ain't gonna throw the ball no more.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's normally the first quarter. And second quarter, in high school, the coach just ain't throwing it. So I got to the ball, and like I teach, all my guys I work with, when you back there, punt return and kickoff returning, dude, I don't care where it kick, get to it and see if you can do something with it, because that may be your only touches of the game. So that's why I took so much pride in the punt return and kick returns, because I had Fred Taylor in the backfield, had James Jackson. So, I mean, it ain't a lot of balls going to be thrown when you got that in the backfield.
All right, so get back to that season. You guys win the SEC championship game again. It's a three-peat. I think it was like 4-5 at the time. You guys destroyed Arkansas. At that point, do you guys feel like you guys are ready to go for the national championship at that point?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was on the goal board. The goal board was win the SEC, win the national title, beat Florida State, beat Georgia, and I don't remember the fifth one. It ain't matter. So we always felt like nobody could beat us. And then with this, the signing classes we were starting to get with the Javon Curses, Keith Kelsey, Beauchamp,
Mike Peterson.
Mike P came in with me.
Oh.
And best guy in our class was Ed Chester, the D lineman. Oh, Ed Chester was one of a kind because he had that wrestling background. So he knew how to use his hands and leverage and stuff. And he was 6'4", 280. I'm going to tell you, Ed Chester was a beast. But over the years, we started getting, guys in there on the defense side of the ball. Offensively, we was kind of set. So we just needed, a couple of defensive players. And we went out and got them, and that was the difference.
We've had other players on and describe how intense the work ethic going into that offseason before the magical year of 96 was. So, what do you think changed, if anything, about how you trained or prepared to make that season different than the ones before it?
I want to say that was the first year of Coach Smitty. He definitely top 3 ever college strength coaches. He came in, I forgot where Smitty came from, but he ended up going to Oklahoma. Yeah, he went to Oklahoma with Stoops. Stoops took him.
Right.
Yeah. No, Stoops bought him. Oh, I'm telling you, Smitty was best. And he changed like the way we worked out and the way we did things. And for some reason, he made me come at 6 a.m. by myself. I don't know why. I always think about that. Did I get in trouble? Gosh, what did I do? But he changed everything about strength and conditioning.
Were they trying to bulk you up?
Yeah, they were trying to bulk everybody up. He was the first one to come in there with the shakes, all that stuff, the creatine back then.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Coach Two never believed in that stuff. So when he showed up, he brought all that stuff, and he changed the dynamic of Florida football from the strength and conditioning. Because when we played Nebraska, I mean, they just overpowered us. They probably they were. I know this for a fact. They were the only college football team that would travel their weight room. Or if they couldn't pack it all, if it was too far, they would go in that city or they'll order the weights and get it delivered to the city for their bowl game,
Huh.
and they would lift the week of the game as if it's a regular week.
This explains a lot. Those big boys.
Yeah, people ain't know that about Nebraska.
No, that's hadn't heard that.
Yeah. So I give you another example. Do you remember when Alabama came down to Orlando, Dr. Phillips, and got the safety and the running back out of Dr. Phillips?
Oh, haha, Clinton Dix.
What was his name? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember haha. He was a Packer.
Oh, he played backer? I thought he was safety in high school.
Yeah, I'm a Packer fan.
Oh, Packers. But he was a safety, right? Okay.
Yeah, he was a safety. Yeah, he got drafted out of Alabama to Green Bay. That's how I
Yeah.
remember him.
So remember when Alabama played in that Citrus Bowl down there that year when they were coming out? They practiced at Dr. Phillips. They redid Dr. Phillips' entire weight room
Wow.
And left it.
It's a
Really?
gift.
Wow.
and left it. So I mean, they couldn't take it with them. They already had stuff in Tuscaloosa. So
Yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. Like it's little things that people don't know about that change the dynamic on why they getting these players and why the high school coaches love them and respect them and etc. They do little small stuff like that. Like, you know, you ain't gotta order all this new stuff and put it in here and use it and leave it because you can't take it with you. But hey,
Yeah.
you got a couple good players, we'll do that.
Well, let's talk about going into 1996 because losing the national championship game to Nebraska, they dropped 62. And you guys had to sit on that all off season. What was the team's mindset going into 96, knowing that you could pretty much dominate the SEC, but you had that monkey on your back to win the big game?
We take it upon ourselves to, you know, just outwork people. We know we had the talent. We know this. We just had to home in on the small details about being prepared each week and treating that opponent each week as if, you know, they trying to rob our house or something. So as a group, we just, you know, just bought in and pushed each other, knowing that we were just that close and we did not prepare properly for that game, not knowing that much about Nebraska, that we need to take everyone seriously.
Well, it definitely worked. That's the year you cement your legacy, right? You got over 70 receptions now, big jump in yards, over 1,200 yards, and then the 18 touchdown catches. That's still stands, right, as a UF record.
With 4 callbacks.
With 4 called back.
Oh, didn't know that. Nice.
So what do you attribute kind of your personal level of success that season? Because you were great already, and then you go to the first team all SEC consensus All-American, you know, a legend, you know, in college football at that point. So kind of what do you think got you to that next level?
Ike, Quiz, Fred, Eli, Terry, all those guys. I give you a prime example. We just watched the NFL wild card, and you look at, they say Justin Jefferson, best receiver in the league. Oh, he gonna have this, that, blah, blah, blah. But if you ain't got no one else on the other side of you that take some of the coverage away from you, you can be stopped as a receiver. I don't care how great you are. So the definition of a team sport, you only as great as the individuals around you. And to have a top 10 pick, a second in the second round pick, a third round pick, another top 10 pick. I mean, I had dudes around me.
Yeah.
Obviously, magical historic season we're talking about here. You start 10-0. We all remember that game up in Doak, those late hits on Danny, losing a tough one there. How do you feel that prepared you going into the SEC championship game and ultimately to get that rematch against the Seminoles there for the big one at the end?
Going to SEC championship game, we were banged up. We were confident, but we didn't have a lot of good things going our way because in that game, I kind of separated my shoulder. I got hurt his knee. Something happened to Fred. Like going into the SEC championship game, we were banged up.
Florida State game was very physical.
Yeah, and that field was terrible. That's how Fred and Ike got hurt. It was dirt everywhere. Wasn't sodded good. So it was a terrible field. But going to the championship game, we were banged up. So we were just fighting through it. But with the emotions of everything else secondary. We're going to get this done. And we went out, played a very good, Alabama team. They put up some points. They put a little scare. But we just stuck together and knew we could beat them and just kept pushing and pushing. But it was a rough one, especially after the loss and all the injuries we were dealing with.
So after Bama in that SEC championship, of course, the national championship, Louisiana Superdome, New Orleans, and the Sugar Bowl, what memories stick out in your mind about that game?
I'll say two things, and one was the game. But before the game, we were going to stay in a different hotel outside of New Orleans the night before the game. And on the drive out there, the Arizona State game was on and getting updates. But by the time we made the hotel and we got in the team meeting, it was announced that, Arizona State had lost. So we were like, oh, man, this here could be big. Like, and Coach Ferrer, like, you win this, you got a chance to win. And the whole room just erupted.
Oh, nice.
So basically, it wasn't like a lot of sleep going on the night before, even though it was a night game and you had all day it was just anxiousness. Once you heard that, it was like, hey, we got a second chance, man. Let's go out here and put on a show. Put on a show. And then that game, the one thing that sticks to my mind is Ike. That one catch he had. He called it, stop, made two dudes run to each other, one on God rest his soul. Good friends. Shevin Smith. He played out here in Tampa with me with the Bucks. Old Treo, we used to call him. He passed away some years ago. He was one of the dudes that fell for the stop. So, all the time he get the joking or talking noise. I was like, no, maybe go get Ike. So, that what kept that memory fun by, playing with the Derrick Brooks, the Dexter Jacksons, the Shevin Smiths, them Florida State guys, because we could reminisce and it was all love. And plus, all the games were good.
Yeah, they definitely were. Those were some stacked teams back then. Did you guys get a chance to celebrate after the game? I know John mentioned the Big Easy, right? That's a place for celebrating. Did you guys get to do anything there?
Do y'all have a plead the fifth on here?
I think the statute of limitations is expired.
Oh, Lord. Dang, I got to answer. My attorney said I can answer. But, hey, that's an understatement. I'll just say there's a couple guys on Bourbon Street. You can stand in the window of the bars and dance and do stuff. There's a couple dudes in the windows doing some disturbing things. But the plane ride home was kind of still the feel of the night before, because we left at like 10 the next morning, 9, somewhere up in there. And most guys I were with, we hung out in the hallway at the hotel after we came in at about 2 to about 6 in the morning because we couldn't sleep. So, yeah, it was a great celebration time, and just a lot of guys just hanging out, talking.
Fair enough.
So obviously, after your huge year, winning the championship, you decide to skip the senior year and go pro. You ever think in the back of your mind what it would have been like to come back again? Obviously, you would have destroyed the record books, maybe win another net. No regrets, huh? You were ready for the NFL? Out of the question?
No. It was more just the situation. My dad and I sat down after, the Sugar Bowl before I had to go back, to Gainesville. We went over the pros and cons. And the pros outweighed the cons. And, that's how we based the decision. The timing was right. Quarterback was changing at Florida. Okay, I got some records, but records are going to be broken. So, that was, a tough decision, but, it's something I made, and believe me, I don't regret.
1997 NFL Draft, you get selected first round, 16th overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Where were you when you got the call, and how excited were you to stay so close to home? Was that cool for you, or did it matter?
It didn't matter. I had a draft party, and I invited the boys down to South Bay to our home. So I was back home with family and friends and teammates. And it wasn't the fact that I was just going to Tampa. Cause like I say, I love to just go places. I can play anywhere. As long as it's football, I didn't care. But to speak to Coach Dungy, that was the most satisfying thing. 'Cause he was a young black coach, and at the time, he was maybe was it 3 or 2? Him and Dennis Green, maybe. And I'll be honest, I didn't follow the Bucks. Even being in Gainesville, nobody watched the damn Bucks. Yeah, even though Sapp and Brooks then went there the year before, and
Don't tell Eric Rhett that.
I told his ass that. Like, he was there when I got there, and he actually came and worked out with us prior to the national championship year. He came and would do condition and lift with us, and he'll just talk, but I never really listened. Cause he just talk all the time. But coming to Tampa, it was no like tradition. And being for Belgrade, you Dolphins, but like I said, I like the 49ers. The Bucks never were on TV, so I really didn't know much about the Bucks. Besides, they had, a young black coach, and Sapp was here, Brooks was here, and that's what I was more excited about, playing with them. Nobody on the offense side of the ball, besides a Rhett. Their show wasn't Trent Dilford. So it was more playing with them guys and being around them that excited me.
So you talked earlier about the kick return being one of your top 3 plays at Florida. What stands out to you in your pro days? And you played 5 seasons for the Bucks. Had a good career, over 4,000 all-purpose yards. You had 16 total touchdowns. Any of those stand out for you as one of your top plays?
I'll say my second year, Fred T, rookie year. Fred would come down here every now and then to visit. And one time he came and Sapp came to my house. And it was Fred, Javon, Quiz, all my dudes. And Sapp came to the house and he just never shuts up. So he comes in, oh, these your boys from Florida? He went round the room, like analyzing them all and telling them what he see they good at and what they need to improve on. That's all he would do. Oh gosh, I mean, this shit went on for about 2.5 hours. We almost missed the club. But I remember Fred, he was talking to Fred and he was like, yeah, I see you and I will bust you up. So we ended up playing them next year when Fred got drafted. And we all know the end of that story. Fred hit our ass up for about 175, 3 touchdowns. But I had 2 catches, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So it was like him and I, Muck, little league teammates, middle school teammates, high school teammates, college teammates, and we finally play against each other. And we're still doing the same thing we would do together. It was, even though we lost, it was cool.
You must have faced a lot of great competition over the years. Who do you remember being your toughest corner in either college or pro? Anyone stand out to give you?
Champ Bailey.
Oh, that was a quick answer. No reservations. Hall of Famer. He was the real deal, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Champ could play receiver. So this what like guys understand, and we as men and women, there always someone out there tougher than you. But most of the time, when you look at them, they remind you of yourself. And you look at them, you're like, damn, they remind me of myself. What would I do to myself? I see what they're doing, but how I counter what they're doing. Because it's like you going against yourself. Because he was super athletic. Run, jump. Oh, gosh. He could catch. He returned punch, he returned kick. Oh, Champ was, I played basketball in high school, average close to 20. Ran track, 10-4, 21-3, long jump, 24 feet something. He did all that stuff, So when you got down the field and you line up, you looking at somebody that you saw or read, heard, but know it's true. They've done similar things. So it's like going against yourself. So how do you beat yourself? And it was just hard to beat him because he was just that fluid and effortless that he reminded me of myself. And it's hard to go against somebody that is just as athletic, just as fast. And what you do? You gotta get creative, but there's only so much you can do, and it was Champ Bailey. Yeah,
Good answer.
he was a dude.
All right, let's talk about some accolades here. 2003, you're inducted into the UF Athletics Hall of Fame. 2004, you're inducted to the Florida Georgia Hall of Fame. And in 2015, you're awarded the Palm Beach County Legends Award, bringing it back to the Muck. What award or achievement, out of these or any others means the most to you looking back?
Hey, they all mean a lot, and honestly, it doesn't. It still haven't dawned on me, because I ain't like I'm sitting around not able to move or do much and just reminisce. It's like, oh, okay, Hall of Fame, yeah. I go to the thing, then I forget about it, cause you know I expect it to be great. Cause like I said, my uncle was in that field, and like people don't know, Fred them and none of them wasn't knowing what I was doing. I was getting up at 8 in the morning, going to them cane fields, with my uncle, working, 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 working. So when all the stuff happens, they'll tell you, I don't brag about it. I just keep going. And, people bring it up and I'm like, oh, okay. Cause I hate living in the past, even though it's a great past, but it's so much more for me to do that that's cool. But, there's a lot more Hall of Fame stuff I can do, away from the field, I feel. So, no, all that stuff cool. But the Hall of Fame stuff almost make you feel old too. So that's why I don't acknowledge it that much.
But you're in, and you're a legend, so we appreciate it for you. How about that?
Very deserving.
Well, we are definitely getting older. So what are you doing with your time these days? What keeps you busy? Any hobbies?
I have my own little wide receiver academy
Is that the Why Not Me?
here in the Tampa area. Yes. And over the years, I've worked with a lot of combine guys. When I was working at a couple of facilities, like I've trained, I think my first year doing combine training, I had like Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson. But then I got one of my good guys I treat like a brother is Nelson Aguilar. But over the years, we've had great combine classes. Had a couple guys from Florida, Trey and Clay Bird, them dudes, and a lot more Alabama guys, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith. So I've drank quite a few good guys, I would say. I just don't like publicizing them
Sure.
and showing that I'm working with them, because it just seems like it's taken away from them. And if they post that working together, cool. I know business wise you should do it, but it's hard for me to just be on social media showing all of that. But believe me, I have a list of about over the last 10 years, about receiver wise alone, 7 or 8 that I've trained. So yeah, I've been training, and I do youth and basically all sports. Teaching speed and agility, no matter what sport you're doing, you need it, and you need to apply it. So I find out what the player needs to work on, and that's what we work on. It ain't about me, it's about them.
We're going to end with this bit. It's called the ultimate dog. You're going to build a wide receiver, putting parts together from different former Gator wide receivers.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you the characteristic, and then you tell me, which guy you're going to take that from, and then we'll build one wide receiver. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Let's go with speed.
Jacquez Green.
Nice. Let's go with strength or power. Strength or power.
Willie Jackson. Willie Jack, he got 6'2.5". Like, he's great height, but he is strong too. Like, Willie Jack a specimen.
All right. Agility.
Ike.
Are you still close with Ike? You guys' careers sort of mirrored each other, and
we talked. He's up at Auburn. I spoke to him a couple weeks ago.
Good deal. All right. Hands? Whose hands you taking?
You
taking your own hands?
Yes.
I was just about to say, feel free to nominate yourself for any of these. You are certainly eligible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm throwing myself definitely in this.
Right.
Definitely. I mean, come on. Something about me has to fit.
Absolutely.
Intelligence.
Oh, intelligence. Aubrey Hill.
Okay. 2 more. We got clutch ability. You know, who do you want in the clutch when it comes down to a game winner?
Clutch ability. Wow, that's a good one.
You stepped up in the big games. It's worth.
I mean, I would give it to myself because it's hard. It's hard to put somebody in front of me when I know if the game on the line. Yeah, I want to give other people, their props because it ain't about me.
Sure.
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
Percy Harvin.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Oh.
All right.
See, I was thinking receiver.
Yeah.
I'm thinking athlete with him, but he was a receiver.
That's a good one.
Good answer.
Yeah, cause Harvin. Joe forget about him because he did so much, but he really was a receiver.
All right. My last one's Hart.
See, Hart easy. That's Chris Dorn.
Okay. There you go.
Friend of the show, Chris Story.
That joker there. I mean, he was a great route runner, competitive, like doing a fight if need be. But everything you throw near him, he would catch.
So here we go. The ultimate dog at wide receiver. Speed, Quez. Strength, Willie Jackson. Agility, Ike. You got hands, Reidel. Intelligence, Aubrey Hill. Clutch ability, Percy Harvin. And Hart, Chris Doring. Wow.
It's a hell of a receiver.
Oh, man. Well, Reidel, it's been an honor and a pleasure
Huge honor.
to have you on the All for the Gators podcast. Just a true, absolute University of Florida Gator legend. It's just crazy to have you on with us, man. It was a pleasure to hear your stories and your perception of your time at Florida and your teammates and everything. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do our show.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
I told you guys. I told you, one of the GOATs.
Definitely one of the GOATs.
That is a GOAT.
Wow. Once again, there are certain guys that you really don't think you're going to get the chance to talk to, right? And, of course, Reidel, one of the most decorated Florida Gator wide receivers in history. We just had him on our show, guys. Pretty cool.
Good job, Mr. Producer. Great cat.
I know the receivers we've had have been amazing. I mean,
Yeah, really.
just think about, we've had a lot of great players, but when you just think the receivers, how many of the great ones we've already had is pretty awesome.
And we got some more coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
give me a little hint.
Our receiver room is getting more crowded.
Hey, and we got to
That's
talk
good.
about real quick our January bracket challenge.
Oh,
Speaking of wide receivers, why don't we make it about wide receivers?
Sounds good.
okay.
So everybody on social media can get mad at me again. It'll be great.
Well, we like giving them reasons to do that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's entertainment.
It is.
What should we call it? Any ideas?
The wide receiver bracket challenge.
What? Best favorite wide receiver? Just like we did linebacker? Keep it simple.
I like it. Keep it simple, stupid.
And there's so many guys to pick from.
It is crazy how many good receivers. Yeah, favorite receiver.
Yeah, we'll just do favorite. Keep it simple so everybody can get mad
All right.
that we didn't talk about the All-American wide receiver from 1965.
Who was Coach Spurrier's best receiver when he was the Heisman quarterback? We get them an honorary vote.
I like when they get angry with you anyway, so it's good to give them a good reason.
Yes.
We'll do it up. Gentlemen, all right. We got to change our name for Gator Bites because our affiliate in Jacksonville, WJXL, Jacksonville's sports radio, home of the Gators, they have a podcast called Gator Bites.
Oh, well,
We don't want to step on any toes.
Right, exactly. So Gator Chomps.
Look at you using your fantasy football team name.
That's right. We'll call them our Gator Chomps. It's our takeaways.
or could be 2 bits.
What? Our 2 bits. I like it.
2 bits it is.
Reidel Anthony was an honorary Mr. 2 Bits last year, the first one. Did you know that?
Oh,
And he wore a cap that said Quez, Ike, Reidel.
that's awesome.
That's badass, isn't it? Yeah, look for it online. Google it. It's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and start. Andy, what's your 2 bits for today? Did we lose Andy?
Bueller.
Hello? Sid?
I'm here. I could give you my bit.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with Sid. What's your 2 bits?
Well, this actually comes to one of the questions I asked. Many of the Gators who've been on the show in the past talked about having like remorse about leaving, not wanting to leave their college experience, wishing they could have stayed a Gator longer. And I was pretty. It was noticeable that Reidel immediately, without hesitation, like, nope, I was done. I fulfilled everything I needed to. I was ready, and you can't argue. I mean, he was a first round draft pick. I mean, maybe he could have been served better if he was set up in a more prolific offense with a different quarterback coaching situation. But the facts remain. You walk out on top. That was a drop the mic. Thank you for your time moment. But I did think it was interesting, though. He clearly had no reservations. He was ready. So noted that for sure.
Okay. Andy actually dropped, but I'll give my 2 bits. And it was sort of like an overlying theme throughout the whole show was just his confidence in his abilities.
Yes.
From growing up, from high school to, even when Coach Spurrier was at his house recruiting him, to when he was in the wide receiver room for the first time at UF, through his time in Tampa, and how he didn't put too much emphasis on any accolades or achievements because he was always looking forward and what he was going to achieve.
Yeah, I like that.
Looking forward. So just this pure confidence was pretty awesome.
And the fact that we all know that he backed it up, that his confidence was well founded.
Absolutely. Another great show, gentlemen. Till next time, it's the All for the Gators podcast. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts: Apple, Google, Audible, Alexa, YouTube. Hold on, Alexa's talking to me. WJXL's website under podcasts. There are affiliate.
Hello, Jacksonville.
iHeart Radio as well now.
All right.
Till next time, guys.
Can't escape our reach.
Go Gators.
Go Gators. From Andy. Go Gators.